to that authoritative level where I'll be able to address some of these gaps as a scholar. And that is where I've come from. Yeah.
Great. By now, I mean, from your experience, there must have been so many gaps you've been able to identify, and I will ask you later on what you've been able to identify as an individual, as someone who's interested in this field, and what you think we can do as a country, as young people, to do that. But before we get there, from your story, we are able to see an alternative path, an alternative route, to skills development. Do you think our country and our young population needs to shift their mindsets to TVET institutes other than the mainstream universities as we know them currently?
I'll say yes and no. Yes, because that is where the job opportunities are. And I'll say no with quotes, because the youth will need a good basic cognitive skills, either in STEM and digital, and digital, they will need basic good foundation in cognitive skills, STEM, that is in sciences, technology, mathematics, and all that. And then they will also need to have enough non-cognitive skills, that is interpersonal skills and all that. And you see, okay, according to me, what I've gathered, the main problem is not the tertiary colleges. It is the basic, the foundation that we give to our basic education. Because our main problem came through from our educational history of education. The way it was education was introduced to us, it was introduced that general subjects are superior to technical subjects. So those who are thought that they couldn't perform were taken to technical courses. Those who could perform went and got scholarships and all that. So we all, the community and the society, developed this perception that this alternative is inferior and it's for non-performers and all that. So none of our youth want to be associated with non-performing. And that is why we have not been able to build up. But let me tell you, Miriam, that the level of industrial development for any country is commensurate to the level of technical TVET development. So the lower the TVET, the lower the industrial development. And currently, if there is no job that we can create without manufacturing, production, and technology. So those three have to go hand in hand. And where do we get them? Only in TVET.
I really like where you're taking this conversation. Yeah, if I can just jump in. So what you're saying is we need a mind shift. Yeah, yes. Because all along we've known certain subjects are attributed to, superiority, and others are more inferior. But then again, we are seeing a very already saturated workforce, and we need to switch our mindset. But then again, I feel like we lack in political will. TVET institute, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. TVET institutes have not been embraced by our governments and all that. What do you say about that?
This, if we look across, research has shown that Africa, because of our educational history, the colonizers came and gave white-collar jobs to those who went through the general education system. But those, the Africans were only allowed to stitch, to do some manual work. So TVET was introduced as a manual work, But the countries that have a good foundation in TVET, like we have Switzerland, we have Germany, we have Australia, we have Malaysia in Asia, we have India. Those that have you can see how far they have been able to develop. Like Malaysia is now competing with the developed countries. A country that was almost below Kenya. So what I'm trying to say is that it is not the lack of the political will, it's the societal attitude, community attitude, the way we have looked at TVET. But today, the government has already shifted the paradigm. There is a paradigm shift. It's investing much more in TVET and also encouraging TVET, because that is where development. Remember, our youth policy 207 states that the youth are mandated for self-development and contribute towards national development. They cannot contribute to national development if they do not have sustainable livelihoods. So once they are able to sustain their small life, that is the time they will be able to contribute towards. So it is only through TVET that skill, like let me look an example of creative economy. Creative economies are like performance, that is music, handicrafts and all that. These are skills that we gather and nurture them through our creativity. And how many youth are earning from that? So many. So what we are trying to say is that it is upon all of us as a society, because at the end of the day, the political goodwill is just a form of leadership. There is the rest of us who are citizens of this country. It's up to us to see which direction do we want to take our country and what type of youth do we want for tomorrow. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And what you're saying makes so much sense. Now I want us to get deeper and bring the conversation back home. We've seen strategies like the Big Four agenda, the Vision 2030, all these strategies for sustainable development. And from what you're saying is that TVET is at the central of implementation of all these strategies. Now I want you to break it down for us on how exactly TVET will help us achieve these set goals for our country.
Okay, Miriam, may I just, before I get to the sustainable development goals and how TVET contributes towards that, I would like to say this. The world is about TVET. Without TVET, there is no world. You cannot dress, you cannot sleep without somebody having joined that bed and given it to you. You cannot dress without somebody having designed and cut that dress for you. So the world is about TVET. You are sitting on before TVET. You are using TVET right now. Every skill. So all the other units, let me call subjects, they are like support units for TVET. The histories, the CREs and all that, they are like support. So me, I normally like saying, I don't know if you like this, that TVET is the backbone of education, because every other unit, the policy makers will make policies to support TVET, isn't it? The physics, the geography, the whatever, all this is about TVET. And what I want to conclude by saying is that we cannot move on leaving the other units behind. We cannot run away. When I was in TVET, when I was training in TVET, the general units were given low deal. We were not introduced to communication, all that and all that. But today, these are a proper core courses for TVET to be able to perform in the market, because even if I am able to make something good, I will need to communicate. I will need interpersonal skill. I will need some scientific foundation, maybe in biology, if I'm doing foods, maybe in chemistry, if I'm doing textiles, maybe in physics, if I'm doing construction. So all this will work together. So let's not assume that we have, like now, we have picked TVET and we are encouraging and discourage the foundational units because we will have lost the scientific principles that inform the practice. So coming to your question, we are talking about SDGs. There was a UN convention, UNESCO convention, sorry, in 2018, and it looked at the gaps in job creation. And the report posted that come to 2030, most of the jobs will be in the manufacturing sector. And if we look at Kenya has summarized the 17 SDGs to 6. And why they have summarized is because the 6 encompasses the 17. And we have these SDGs. We have these SDGs like improve, ending poverty. And how will TVET contribute towards ending poverty? Ending poverty is a broad term, because poverty brings about poor health, poor housing, poor nutrition and all that, and sanitation and water availability and all that. So by the youth having skills, they will be able to access the market with those skills, produce products that will be marketed, and then increase their family income, increase their family or individual or family income. Then we have ending hunger and achieving food security. We have agriculture, and today there is a lot of there are a lot of people who are thriving on agriculture, agribusiness, and also doing something along the value chain from the farm to the shelves, to the selling point. We have also in that line, when we talk about ending hunger, we are talking about agriculture. We are talking, and when we talk about agriculture, we are also talking about improved nutrition. That is the technologist who is there testing the food value and all that. And when we talk about that, we are also talking about sustainable agriculture, new methods of farming and all that, involving technology or including technology in the process of in farming processes and all that. Then we also talk about good health. Like now, see the COVID case. People came in to make masks, to make beds, and to make all that. Those beds were made by people who have technical know-how. The idea may have come from people who are in general practice, business people, but they constructed designers who are engineers and all that. So you can see how TVET is now coming in, good health. And then we come to access to quality education. If you look at the mandates of our youth, I had taken you to youth policy. The final one was out in 2008.
Yeah.
And every youth in Kenya is mandated to self-development and contribute towards. But there is the marginalized, and the disabled. So we are talking about inclusive education and training. And if we look at our TVETs, how many girls are doing engineering? How many girls are doing these male perceived courses? Most of us will go there, do catering, tourism, and fashion design, and also do beauty, which are stereotyped courses associated with feminine. So inclusive and equitable distribution of these skills. Then how many of our TVETs are able to enroll disabled persons and give them all the resources necessary so that they are able to compete at par with their able youth. So when we talk about all youth having been given mandate, I think there is much that we need to do in that. That is access agenda, that is SCD4.
Yeah.
And it so much informs our agenda, our agenda 4. We are also talking about lifelong learning. By the way, TVET provides the best platform for long life learning. Why do I say that? Because the technology and production systems keep changing. So if you are in production system, in any production scenario in TVET, you have to keep learning new methods, new technology so that you can be able to shorten the production time and also maximize your profits. So we are saying, as much as Kenya, the youth do not have a culture of lifelong learning, TVET provides it, because you keep on looking for new designs, new information, new processes, and all that. Then we are talking about achieving gender equality and empowerment for our girls and women. See what is happening now. We are saying that we have more than 5,000. I don't know if this is, it has any authentic, but the latest time, I don't know if the data is authentic, but I'm saying we have more than 5,000 girls during this COVID time who will not be able to go back to school come January, maybe because of pregnancy or this and this challenge. But if we entrench TVET even at rural level, especially when we are talking about creative economies, these girls who drop out of school can get an alternative. Instead of them going to do manual work, being house girls and all that, they can be able to get an alternative. And remember that an empowered woman is an empowered family, and an empowered resorts to an empowered family and an empowered country. Because a woman is like the backbone of the society. So we are saying that TVET can contribute, also can come in, and that is why I'm interested in non-formal programs, because non-formal programs do not require enrollment criteria. You just need yourself and the skills. So then we come to the last one, that is the ensure availability of sustainable management of water and sanitation. We cannot talk about sustainable water without looking at the ecosystem, the environment, forests and all that. So, and remember, this is about us. So what I want to say on this is that the TVET can be involved in forest conservation, because we are the same people who go there and buy the timber to make furniture and all that. So we can be used to conserve the environment and also at the same time manage our water towers through our water engineering, boring, coming up with boreholes and all that. I think I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, and it's just beautiful, because I feel like we need more conversations on particular SDGs. Like when you're talking about gender equality and TVET, I had never seen the connection, but now you've just opened my eyes. We can create programs as alternatives to our young girls and women in the society, and that's just awesome. But then which brings me to my other question. From what you're saying, there's so much hope. There's so much hope for development, especially for developing countries such as ours. Why
Sure.
then have we not been able to achieve all these things you're saying, yet we have knowledge of it? What are the challenges our TVET institutions have been facing and the entire sector?
Our first problem is what you talked about. In Kenya, much of what we achieve is through political goodwill. So one thing, that aspect, that I am not saying that the political class or the government has not been supportive, but the attitude, let me call it the negative attitude towards TVET, they did not see results, developmental contribution, the contribution of TVET in the industrialization of the country. And so right now we are talking about, when I was doing my research a few years for my master's, my findings were that there was very low budgetary allocation to TVET compared to general education. And you see, TVET is an expensive system of education because of the resources that are required, that is teaching learning resources. And so we kept on using obsolete technology, but we cannot compete at par with other countries in terms of production when we are still using obsolete technology. So one of the challenges that we are having is inadequate allocation of resources. And then there is the community attitude, which even today is still there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of awareness needs to be. And people like me coming out, because we are many, I'm not the only one, without shame, coming out and saying that I was down there, I've gone through this alternative path, and now I am here, so that people can see, okay, this is true, it is workable, it is doable. So we need mentors in TVET, mentors that the youth can look upon. We also need to access, we need to enhance access and inclusivity, especially for the marginalized and disabled. Yes, we need also to harmonize the credentials offered by various assessment bodies.
Yeah.
For example, today, okay, during our day, once you get a HND, that was a terminal certificate, you could not go anywhere. We could only get employed. You could not move from there to another level until 2003. But today, the sky is the limit. You can move on in paper. I'm saying in paper. You can move on up to PhD level. But the actualization of that policy is not there on the ground. So there are youth who would want not only to get a diploma, they would want to move to a degree and move to. But the problem is that these credentials have not been harmonized. When you come to the university, I'll tell you, you will be told that you do not qualify, yet you have done a certificate and a diploma, and you want an entry point to do a degree. You'll be told you didn't pass this, you didn't pass that, you didn't pass that. So we need some harmonization.
Yeah.
And then there are so many certificates that are being offered. And at one point you take it somewhere, you are told that it is not recognized. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the fears that the youth have. They go to NITA, but how far will that NITA certificate help them? Will they be registered by their professional bodies? Because today, for you to practice, you have to be registered by professional body. Does that NITA certificate meet the criteria that is required by that professional body? That is the type of harmonization I'm talking about. So that the youth, after 3 years, after 1 year of training, they are not wasted. They want to network with people, but their certificates cannot allow them to network. So I'm also talking about teacher upgrading. There is a problem of, you see, I was trained as a teacher, a TVET teacher in 1999. And ever since that time, nobody has ever come to tell me to upgrade my skills. But how much has the area, my trade area, changed? How much has the teaching pedagogies changed? What I have achieved is through my own endeavors. I look for an online course, I go for attachment in an industry and all that to upgrade my skills. But how many people can do that? If the government would make it a policy that after a certain period, technical teachers should go for placement, maybe for 6 during holidays, so that they can upgrade their technical skills, because production systems and designs and ICT applicable to specific trades keep changing. And there's no way the skills that I used in 1999 can be applicable today, unless the theoretical part of it. So I think we need to do that. Then there is poor involvement of stakeholders. It is not possible for the government to support TVET education system on their own. So it is important that all the other business people who are in manufacturing industries, to come on board, so that they will offer internship, they will like, okay, in Germany, there is this dual education system where the manufacturing industries and the technical institution teach together. So the student is able to go to that manufacturer, not on attachment, but for a class with arrangement, so that we do not offer mismatching, we do not have a mismatch in skills. We are together. Because it is impossible, or it is too expensive for the government to keep pace with the changing technology. At every time there is an equipment, they buy a new one. So it's only by total collaboration and acceptance of these manufacturing industries as part of the teaching learning system in TVET. So that is what I'm saying. That has not been there. And then the universities, when these people are coming up with curriculum, most universities have technical degrees, like Egerton has several. But no one has ever told us to come and harmonize the diploma and the degree. Because then when the students want to come to us or to come to university, there are questions that are brought about. So I think it is the high time that Commission of Higher Education and TVET come together and iron out these challenges, so that the students, who not everyone would want, there are students whose passion is upward mobility. Those who need upward mobility can be able to access without problems. Then embedding STEM in the curricula. Embedding STEM in the curricula. There is a total disconnect between the supporting science subjects and the practical skills. So you find that when I'm teaching clothing and textiles, the student is not able to relate the chemistry, textile chemistry, with that garment, because right from the beginning, they were not embedded. So we need to embed. Why do we have people who are coming up with very good innovations, but the innovations end up? Remember, there's somebody who came up with an aircraft some years back, a model of an aircraft, but that aircraft could not do that because the physics that is required for that product to function was not embedded in the product. So we need to embed in the curriculum development level. When we are developing curriculum for interior designs, for example, there is lighting, there is all that. Can we have somebody from the other STEM to come and be part of the curriculum development? Then we are talking about this is a very risky, the classroom scenario, the workshops, the labs, these are very risky areas because they are machines, they are chemicals and all that. And we have very poor health and safety parameters in place. Some, in fact, they do not even exist. So I think we need to take it a bit, because it is already entrenched in the occupational health and safety. We need to implement that, ensure that not only that old fire extinguisher. When I'm teaching textile testing, can I have can somebody teaching textile testing, somebody teaching textile science, can they have the necessary health and safety gadgets to ensure that the student is safe and the trainer is safe? The other is the quality of equipment. Quality of equipment. Quality of equipment. And you see, with an equipment, we need repair and maintenance. How often are they repaired? How often are they calibrated? How often are they even replaced? You get into a lab and you are told this is not working, this is not working, this is not working. We are waiting for this, we are waiting for the other. So if we are embracing TVET, we must embrace TVET with all its costs and the nitty-gritties that goes with quality education or quality skills, because at the end of the day, it is not about certificate, it is not about having the youth go 3 years, it's about the quality of skills that youth will come out with. And then we need a policy. We are too much in written exams, too much in written exams. But you may know how I may know how to I may know how to write how to write a recipe. I can write a recipe, but that does not mean that writing a recipe correctly makes me a good chef. I may not be able to produce that cake, but I can be able to write how to do that cake. So can we give less to written exams and more to practical exams? Because I think that's where we are losing it. If at whatever level, I started teaching at the Youth Polytechnic, and I am an examiner for Youth Polytechnics. This youth, the lowest, I am an examiner for I've been an examiner for the Youth Polytechnics, but you find that it's only 10% that goes to written. The rest, the 90% goes. So at the end of the day, after you have assessed that student, you are sure that that student is able to make. They may not be able to write their name. We don't want to go there, but they can be able to make something. Hello, any other question?
You're raising very, very pertinent issues and very, very informative points. And oh my God, I hear a lot of synergy. We need to synergize our curriculum. We need to synergize our university and TVET institutions. And you've touched something about policy. I know Madam Daka is listening in. I will just give her a minute. I know this is a pre-recording for YouTube, but just give a minute to just weigh in on whatever it is we are talking about, and then I'll give you a chance to finalize, to give your closing remarks. I know you have a class. So, Madam Angela, if you're listening.
Yeah, it was good listening to Peninah and what she's saying. It's such a wonderful talk. I just am overwhelmed by the information she's sharing. And it's great to listen to what she's talking about. And I've just been thinking at how far we are left behind. I was just thinking at this time, COVID-19 has opened our eyes to see how we need to even transform further to fit into the current situation. And probably I throw a question to her, because it's something that I've actually been thinking. How has been technology, especially ICT, been integrated in teaching of TVET subject or development of TVET skills? And how are we looking at how the education, particularly the education delivery in TVET institution, how is it going to continue given the current situation? Because I heard the president, I think the Minister of Education saying that we are opening in September for the TVET institutions. So probably that is a question that I would want to hear Peninah talk about, where we are in terms of ICT integration and the e-learning aspect, and how do we intend to deal with the dynamics around e-learning and TVET. So it's quite something. I had another question on the era of technology, where people are looking at adopting robots in industry, and most of them are looking at upgrading skills and training people on how to use the robots. And it said, actually, literature says that it's going to affect the lower skilled. Now, in an event that Kenya will think about adopting robots, or we get there, how do we intend to navigate around that, taking care of the lot that might lose employment and all that? Because we look like we are now trying to create spaces for the unemployed, but at some point, if the manufacturers feel that robots are cheaper to manage compared to human labor, they might dispose the human labor. So what happens after that? What next? Yeah, done, Miriam.
Okay, let me answer the digital inclusion.
Yes, as you give your closing remarks, and kindly just lower your computer so that we're able to see your face.
Lower?
Yeah.
Where have I gone?
Your camera. Your camera, just lower it a bit.
I'm trying to lower.
But I think we can see you from there. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me, on a quick note, let me answer. Thank you, Madam Angela. Digital inclusion is a concern to us who are trainers in TVET, and more so when it comes to practical simulations. Because one thing, not everything can be obtained from YouTube, because we are using some YouTube packages to train our students. But it is up to the technical teacher or the technical trainer to up our games or to embrace online teaching in terms of content development, and also looking for support from the internet that can be able to beef up your content. But it will be it is a challenge to be able to demonstrate a process practically using the online platform, because sometimes there is no support to do the video, and then me as the trainer or whoever trainer does not have the skills to process an online video for learning. So what I'm seeing is that the teaching learning institutions, or the TVET institutions, and the government need to go an extra mile and maybe support institutions to video their practicals and all that in preparation of what we are going through now. But we are still very low as far as digital inclusion in TVET is concerned.
I hope you've been answered.
Yes, but Peninah, I'm also asking about the technology upgrade that is happening in the developed world, of where robots are replacing.
Yeah, I'm coming there.
Yes,
I'm coming there. Okay, we have. I visited an EPZ garment manufacturing company called Hera Limits, and I saw the transportation of pieces from one operative to the other was being done by a robot, and that, according to the manager, that reduces the number of people that are working within the workshop. And looking at this as a long-term investment for production scenarios. But we have most of our TVET graduates are at the SME level. So we still have time for us to be able to develop them, because most of them are either on individual companies, or just in a small scale company that cannot be able to invest in such a scale. But moving forward, we say technology is dynamic. By the time these people are able to go to a full-fledged manufacturing industry, other type of enabling technologies will have arisen. So what I'm saying is that right now we are just at the the primary stage of industrial development. By the time we get to like where Germany got to get the GABA production system, where the production the industry is totally automated, and the human labor is very minimal, then we, as a country, there are those basic developments, technical developments that we need to do before we get there. I don't know if you have. Yeah, it's on the pipeline. But you see, this also has to go together with our training and practical. We cannot leave technology behind, and then graduate students who do not have that space. Lifelong learning is part of TVET. That is what I started by saying. So we have also, as trainers, to embrace and to look forward to that there is changes as coming, and coming fast. So we have to prepare ourselves in terms of policies, in terms of content, and all that, so that we can prepare a youth who will be able to fit today and in the future.
Okay, great. Probably as you do your closing remarks, as Miriam has said to you, you could probably tell us something about the place of people with disability and what government is doing, or what government is doing or institutions are doing to include people with disability, because they seem to be missing out or being left behind on issues of they also need skills in as much as they have disabilities. Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you.
Miriam.
Thank you, Angela.
Yeah, thank you so much. As I said earlier, I feel like this conversation is the beginning of very many conversations to come, because we need to separately look at inclusivity in relation to TVET alone and have that discussion and what we should do about it. But Madam Peninah, it has been awesome having you. Kindly just give us your closing remarks. I'd wish for you to talk to young people, and when we are talking about shifting our mindsets, just tell us something about it. You have been someone who's benefited from TVET. You started from, as we've heard your story, from down there, and now you're up here. Just give that girl somewhere hope that it is doable.
Okay, thank you very much, Miriam. It has also been good to just even to talk to you and to give me an opportunity. But I would like to say to young people, whether men or women, whether boys or girls or men or women, I would like to say that you cannot reach to a place where you have not seen. So your journey, life's journey, starts with a vision. See yourself being that person and then walk towards that dream. Right from my Form 4, even when I didn't perform, I saw myself as a scholar and as an authority in TVET. Regardless whether anybody recognizes or they don't. I wanted to equip myself. So I moved towards that. And I would like to say that there are so many opportunities, there are so many chances. Once you identify your passion, you identify your niche, and you go forward, look for information about what you want to be, look for networks and people to help you along the way, and look for the resources. What do you need to be that person that you want? And today, there are so many people who are willing just to give you to give you a platform to usher you to the next level. Otherwise, a dream, if it's not talked out and it's not lived, then it is not worth dreaming. And then TVET has so many opportunities. It is not just about production. I am in production clothing, but I have about almost 10 skills or 20 skills with me, because TVET opens a platform of long life learning. As I'm doing designing of clothing, I decided to do designs of bags, designs of crafts, and all that. And I looked for information and people who could now better me in that area. When I decided to look at designing instructional methods in TVET, I looked for information and developed myself in that area. So what I'm trying to say is that let no one look down upon you. Keep on moving and looking for solutions in your life, because they are in your hands. Don't sit at home saying that you don't know nothing. And again, the best thing with TVET is that it is like adult education. You can get into it at whatever level. So it's never too late to be a TVET. It's never too late to be a TVET. So I wish all the best. And I think I would like to engage. I'm there. I'm out to mentor. Given an opportunity to mentor.
We seem to have lost you there. I think I didn't get the last bit of what you said.
Okay.
Peninah, are you there? Yes, now I can hear you.
I said I said that TVET is not only that engineering that you are going to do, it's a whole package. Once you get the skills, it opens your self-esteem and your self-concept, and you are ready to unleash your whole potential. And therefore, what I've said is that I'm ready to mentor, I'm ready to work with whoever youth want me to work with them and be what they want to be.
That has been amazing. I think we have lost Miriam, but this has been a very interesting and engaging conversation. And as a youth and someone in policy, I'm interested even in getting skills in TVET, and it's amazing to listen to you, to listen to an expert in the field. It helps to see even some things we could not see, I couldn't see as a person. This also marks the end of our interview. Thank you so much, Madam Peninah. Thank you, Madam Angela. We appreciate as youth in policy. We thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Peninah, for coming.
Thank you, Aji.
Yes. So, Philbert, we can leave?
Yes, this marks the end.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Philbert, for organizing this.
Okay.